Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys, happy Monday to you here, March the 15th, 2021. It is the college basketball tip-off show powered by WagerTalk.com. But wait a minute, there's no college basketball games today. Yes, that is correct. But there's still a whole lot of information that we can help provide for you as we get ready for, obviously, NIT games and the 4 playing games on Thursday and the tournament on the weekend. So there's a lot to get to. And I can't think of 3 better guys more equipped to be able to navigate through this craziness that is known as March Madness than these gentlemen here. We've got Bryan Leonard in the house today, Dave Koken here with us, and of course, the maestro, there he is, the Godfather, Ralph Michaels here with us as we take a look at some of these quadrants and some of these matchups in the first round, some filling out brackets. If you're doing that where you are, we'll try to point you in the right direction, give you some pointers there. But do take a look at their Twitter handles here, guys, because always some great information throughout the year can be found there at B Leonard Sports, at Dave Koken, at Cal Sports LV. And let me go to you first, Ralph, because I wanted to touch base on some of the free materials that we have up at WagerTalk.com to help kind of navigate through this craziness that is the March Madness. Talk to us a little bit about the forms you got going on now.
Well, we have a schedule up with all the opening lines, the times and rotations, if you want to see that. But I did do a March Madness guide this year, and basically it's just a lot of stats and numbers to look at what you think is important. There's 4 sections to it. First are the Ken Palm numbers year to date. Their overall rank, offensive rank, defensive rank, tempo, luck, their strength of schedule, and the strength of opponents they faced on offense and defense. Then I took the Bart Torvik numbers over the last 30 days. So you'll see just his records, just his offensive and defensive ranks. I went to the gold sheet. I have ATS information, how they do in ATS in a win, how they do ATS numbers in a loss, how they do against A, B, and C teams on the road, not only their ATS numbers, but their average score. And then stats, if you like stats, I've got them loaded for you. Points per game diff, offense and defense, rebounds per game diffs, 3-point percentage, shooting percentage, free throw percentage, turnovers and assists. And it's all, Joe, in a side-by-side format. So for each page, you're going to get 2 games out of it because the 2 left teams play each other and then the 2 right teams play each other. So you can compare it on one stage and get you through the entire weekend. So just a little statistical guide to help you make your decisions for some of these teams you may not be familiar with.
All right, good stuff there. We've got a great opportunity for you at WagerTalk.com to take advantage of anybody's March Madness package there, selections throughout. But I do want to remind you guys, it is $9 Monday today, which means, of course, best bets are $9 at WagerTalk.com. And, Bryan, let me come to you first because a couple of questions came in this week regarding, is there any difference between how you handicap the regular season and what you've done compared to what we're about to embark on here? Also, talk to us about what you have $9 Monday up at Wager Talk.
Yeah, we'll start off with that part first. I did have a triple play up in hockey, but one of the games was canceled. So now it's a double play, but still 2 plays for $9 in hockey. Number 1 in net profit on the season over at Wager Talk. Also have a play in the NIT coming up on Wednesday, and that's also $9. If you grab it today, it'll go back to the $25 price starting Tuesday. Yeah, it is different the way you handicap because during the regular season, you get to play a team 2 times. Everybody's in the same conference, so you know how they rank within that conference. Since there wasn't many non-conference games this year, it's going to be really different. If you see a team coming out in a certain conference and they look good, take a look at the other teams in that conference and see what they match up, because that may tell you that that conference is a little bit better or worse than what we expected. Also, I take a look at individual conferences, like, for example, out where we all live in Las Vegas, the Mountain West, other than San Diego State. I try to fade most of those teams. They haven't done well in the tournament. Unfortunately, because of some of the other teams winning late, we only got Utah State in there. But it's a situation where Utah State's a tough matchup for them in the first round. Texas Tech, a team that plays really good defense. And unfortunately, coming out of the Mountain West, there's not a whole lot of teams that play good defense out here.
Mm. And Dave, what do you got going on at $9 Monday at Wager Talk right now? I know a couple of NHL plays. You've been red hot there. It's been crazy for both you and Bryan, the NHL, just dominating. But what do you got going on at Wager Talk? And any advice, any caveats that you have different from the regular season to now?
As far as the stuff today, I've got one game up for the first four, which I thought the odds makers missed on, to be quite honest. And I think that's a strong play. So that's up for $9. And then there's a hockey package, which has two games, and that's also $9 for both games. So you can get that right now. I primarily do things the same. I'm a matchup guy, so I'm going to look at each matchup, try and find games where there is a substantial strength versus weakness, and maybe some misreads on conference strength. And we'll go from there and try and find some good games.
Love that. You know, Ralph, it's funny. I feel like every year right around this time, we're always looking at the quadrants, and we're always going, oh, this, why is this team a 12? Why are they a 13? And we kind of get lulled into that recency bias a little bit here. What kind of advice do you have for folks, and what do you have coming up today, $9 Monday at Wager Talk?
One play off an NBA 5% winner last night. Have one play of 4% in NBA action tonight for $9. You know, and really, you know, we make fun of the AP rankings a lot. We say, oh, those are just sportscasters voting that really don't watch teams. You know, it's the same thing with this committee. Yeah, they delve into stats a lot more, but, you know, believe a Vegas line more than you would a ranking. Remember, a 5 seed can be anywhere to 21. A 12 seed can be 48. From the 21st team to the 48th team, people perceive, oh, my God, there's a huge gap. But it's not that big of a gap when you're breaking down the team. So, you know, don't get lulled into those numbers. Bryan had talked about some of the conferences, so I went to the database real quick. I'll give you some of the best and worst over the last 3 years. The ASUN and the America East Conference are a combined 6-0 against the spread. Missouri Valley 5-1 against the spread. The Sun Belt, the Big Sky, and the Horizon combined 0-6 against the spread the last couple years. The A10 2-5, the Big West and CUSA, and the Northeast 1-2 ATS. So, you know, those are one-game hit or misses. I have some more TNA we'll talk about when we're looking at double-digit favorites and 20-point favorites coming up.
Oof. Yeah, you know, David, let me ask you. We had talked about it just before the show here a little bit, the NIT versus the tournament itself. And how do you handicap motivation with NIT teams? I mean, it's kind of a coin flip, isn't it, in your mind?
I think you have to wait and see. Unless you're really close to a program. I recall a year, I don't remember, but knowing the UNLV program very well, they had absolutely no interest in being the NIT in this particular year and went out and got smashed in their first game. If you can find information like that, it's great. Otherwise, I think you have to wait a game and find out. If a team wins its first game, they get motivated after that because it's like, okay, well, especially this year because there's only 16 teams. But I don't like guessing going in. So I'll give you an example. I think Colorado State is certainly the better team in their NIT matchup. Who are they playing? I'm blanking on who they're playing. It's Buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah.
Colorado State's better than Buffalo. But, you know, Colorado State, at least Buffalo knew when they got beat in their conference title game that they were not going to the NCAA tournament. I think Colorado State might be really disappointed because they were in until the last second. And I think there's a good chance they got knocked out because Georgetown and whoever else, whoever it was on Sunday, on Saturday, won. Oregon State, yeah.
Oregon State.
I don't know how to read that with Colorado State. So I think that's one of those typical, let's wait and see what they do in game one matchups. If they win, then they'll be motivated after that. If they don't, well, then they won't be playing anymore.
I mean, Bryan, if you look at the NIT, these Power 5 conferences, initial thoughts, some disappointment, obviously. You got Memphis and Dayton is another one of these games that's going to be happening this weekend. Anything stick out to you here from the decisions and who made it, who didn't?
Not really. To touch on something Dave talked about regarding teams that thought they should have made it, well, they've got that situation going right now where they have the first team out, Louisville, second team out was the team we were just talking about, Colorado State, and I believe there's a couple other teams on there too, St. Louis and somebody else. But they're not only disappointed that they didn't go, they have to sit there and wait to see if there's another team that gets COVID and they won't be able to play. So, you try to come into these tournaments betting on a team that's confident, that comes in, is already prepared. I would really look to fade any of these teams because they've got to sit around. They don't know where they're going at this point. Right. Something happens, they get called to the big dance, great. If they don't, then it's even worse for them to play in the first round of the NIT.
And Ralph, you had mentioned over there some of these initial spreads out for these 116s, and when you start looking at these double-digit favorites and the underdogs here, what do some of the trends and angles tell us about it?
I just want to jump back, Joe, to the NIT real quick.
Sure.
If you look back at the last 7 NIT champions, Texas, Penn State, TCU, George Washington, Stanford, Minnesota, Baylor, Stanford. They were teams that just underachieved, that they thought they could take the next step and do that. So that really is motivation for a team that perhaps finished in that 500 range, knew they weren't going to be here, have a lot of young kids back, perhaps have a coach in their first or second year. I think you really want to look at those type of situations moving forward. Bryan mentioned the uniqueness of this year. They have until Tuesday at 9 o'clock. If those teams don't replace anyone by Tuesday night, they're done. Everybody's set. If someone has COVID, it's a forfeit moving forward. So we'll see what happens. But again, waiting until Tuesday night to know if perhaps you're going to get to the big dance and then focus and try to prep for an NIT game. One other thing in the NIT, and I love the NIT. I think it's my favorite tournament. It's been in the past because you really can find motivated teams. Usually, though, in the past, a motivated mid-major that got a home game against a big team, and they would sell a lot of tickets for $1 and get a rowdy crowd. And then once you advance past the first or second round, you were then playing to get to Madison Square Garden. Well, all the NIT games are either in Katy, Texas, or in Denton, Texas, home of the Mean Green. So again, a little uniqueness this year, how we handle it. With some of those numbers I wanted to bring up, let me just say this. The last 3 years, if you just bet every dog in March Madness, you are 54.2%. So keep that in mind. When you're playing these first games and you're playing again in 2 days, there are no style points. All you got to do is win the game. So dogs, last 3 years, 54.2%. If you have a dog off a win, those dogs are 57.1%. So you have a dog that won its conference tournament, now coming into the season and now coming into March Madness and winning. Totals. We're used to seeing a lot of low totals in college basketball and some teams that have very, very slow momentum. Well, you don't get that same. You get this sense of urgency in March Madness because it's one and done. If you have a total of under 120, and there aren't many of them, but any time in the tournament, if you have a total of under 120, the last 5 years, they've gone 80% to the over.
Wow.
So if you're falling into that trap of, yes, Loyola, slow, and yes, there's a lot of teams, totals of, again, under 120, be very careful playing the under. And I guess this seems very obvious, right? If you have a very low total and you're a dog, that sounds like a positive play because you're getting points on a game that should be low scoring. Totals of 124 or less, and you're a dog. 29, 29 and 19 the last 4 years, 60.4%. And if you have a total of 124 or less, and you're a dog of 7 or more, you've gone 11 and 4 against the spread. So 11 of the 15 that have fit that mold the last 4 years have covered. Double-digit favorites against the spread, 70 and 71.
Oof.
20-plus point favorites, 15, 18, and 1, 45.5%. So just share those numbers with you, but double-digit favorites, a total wash, 20-plus point favorites, just under the Mendoza line.
All right, great stuff there, guys. And before we take a look here and see if any of these gentlemen have maybe a dog or so that they like here in the first round matchups, if there's something that might have stuck out to them here, we'll get to that. But first, I do want to remind you, it's a great opportunity right now with Bryan Leonard and Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels. What an opportunity. Head over to WagerTalk.com right now and use the code MM50. It is March Madness, literally, at WagerTalk. MM50. That'll give you $50 off any March Madness packages that are regularly $199, now $149 with that code. That's MM50. You never have to worry about missing a play from these guys. Grab it now. All access package to March Madness at WagerTalk.com. Go to Dave's page. Go to Brian's page. Go to Ralph's page right now. Hop on it. Grab that March Madness package. Now $149 with MM50. Bryan, let me ask you one more time before we dive into dogs here, though. Are any of you gentlemen there that might have any suggestions for filling out brackets as opposed to picking the games? Is there an art to it, Bryan, have you found over the years? Is there something you should try to do, or is it just throw it against the wall, see what sticks?
Well, most of the time when I'm looking at the seeds, I throw the seeds away, basically. And I think just about anybody who knows these teams will do that. The seeds are there for, especially when you have these big tournaments where you've got, people have their wives fill out brackets and people who don't watch college basketball all season long. It's nice to see what the seeds are because you don't want to blindly play a 16 against a 1 because you don't know. But once people do this for a living and they know how good these teams are, just ignore the seeds because most of the time, if you're playing the higher seed, chances are if you're going up against some other people, that's the majority of the play will be on that. The way you win this is you take the teams that happen to be a lower seed, a higher seed, and fade those teams. And you see a lot of these where you go, people are always talking about the 5-12. A lot of these 12s, as Rolf pointed out, a lot of these 12s are just as good as the 5s, and sometimes you even see a situation where it's in a pick'em range or something. So you're able to get those where a lot of people will just blindly take the 5 because, hey, there's 7 spots better. You have to be able to play some underdogs. Basically, the bigger the pot of players that you're playing in, the more chances you have to take. If you're in something with 5 guys, just the better teams and do it that way. But if you're in with a million people in one of these national ones, just take as many shots as you can because if you win that shot, you're going to beat the vast majority of these people in them.
Dave, it's funny, too. One of the things that most people have when it comes to filling out brackets is they're looking for the perfect bracket. Like, the hell with the perfect bracket, right? You want to pick as many winners as possible with it. Any suggestions?
No, I haven't filled out a bracket in...
What year? Come on, who was president?
I might have filled one out in some contest that I had to get into because of radio about 20 years ago. I have no interest in brackets whatsoever. None. What am I going to win? I bet games. So I don't look at it. I couldn't care less about it. Sorry. I'm not knocking those who do. I understand it's a lot of fun, but it's not even amusing to me. So I don't care about them at all.
I love it. How about it, Ralph?
Well, after Koken, I have to do something. And Dave, I knew you didn't play brackets, so it was just a question he asked you. But it was, I do a couple bits of advice. I start with who I think is going to win, and I think the Zags are going to win the championship. So boom, I put them on the 1, and I actually do my bracket backwards. put who you think's going to get there, fill them in, and then go backwards so you're not screwing yourself up on the way. 1 in 16 seeds, guys, it's 140-1. So don't pick a 16 seed. A 15-2 seed, 132-8. Don't pick that. There have been more 9s than 8s. And, you know, the only higher seed this year, there's only one higher seed that's the favorite this year. Rutgers a 1-point favorite against Clemson. That's the 7-10 matchup. So it is unique. We'll see if Vegas gets us in one direction or the other, but only one of those right now where Vegas and the committee are, you know, a few slots off at where they seeded those two teams.
All right. Don't forget $9 Monday, too, as well at Wager Talk, guys. Bryan Leonard locked and loaded NHL college basketball, as is Dave Koken. Ralph has an NBA play up there, fresh off that 5% winner last night. So head over to WagerTalk.com, guys. Visit these guys' pages and make sure you take advantage. $9 best bets today, $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All right, Bryan, let me ask you, as far as early dogs here on the card that you might have come across, did anything stick out to you here?
Yeah, it's unfortunate being from Cleveland. Cleveland State's in there, and they get to go up against Houston. But the way I like to handicap these games, number one, Cleveland State's a very well-coached team. Houston's a team that just blew somebody out in their conference championship. So they're coming in there, as Marco D'Angelo would say, fat and happy. This is a Houston team that a lot of people right now think is probably the best long shot on the board, and I wouldn't argue with that when you're taking a look at a double digit to win it all. Cleveland State can keep this a slow-starting game. Both teams prefer to play that way. The line's a little bit high for me in that one, so I think Cleveland State can give them a good game. As for winning straight up, I don't think it'll happen. But there's a lot of situations here where you just have to take one team who likes to run against another team who plays good defense and tries to slow it down. And if you can get one of those teams in that regard, catching a lot of points, that's something I'm going to take a look at.
All right. And how about a day? Was there a dog maybe that stuck out to you? Like Rick Pitino's back, but how long is he going to be back for? That kind of thing.
Nothing there, but I think Virginia Tech beats Florida. Virginia Tech's a better team. I think they're better coached, and I think they favored the wrong team in that game.
Ooh, I like that. All right, how about it there, Ralph? What you see in the way of dogs? Anything we should look at?
You know, I'm going to go with the 26-point dog in Hartford.
Oh, what a shock.
Baylor finished down the stretch. 1 in 5 ATS. They're only covered Texas Tech. And what you have to remember about these 1 seeds are, these coaches now have an extra day with the games Friday, Saturday. But Baylor's thinking, okay, we have North Carolina and Wisconsin. That's going to take up a lot of your prep time this week looking ahead because you only have 1 day between games. That's why you fade those big favorites in certain roles. If they have 2 completely different styles they have to prep for in their next game, it's a disadvantage. So I think it's important to look at who they have the next game. If teams are similar and they only have to prep for 1 style, less practice time needed throughout the week. With these 2 teams being so different, I think it's going to take something away from it. I'll take Hartford plus the big points.
All right, liking that. I did like Winthrop, but I got everybody and their mother telling me that they are going to beat Villanova, which scares the living crap out of me as well.
I'd be scared.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's not a good matchup for them physically. I understand that Gillespie's out
right.
For Villanova, but they're big. They're really big. And physical, and that's I think Winthrop's a nice team, but I think they drew the wrong matchup here, and that number is I'm probably going to end up betting Villanova, but you can have Winthrop if you want.
Yeah.
You know what, Joe? When the whole world that's filling out a bracket is watching Seth Davis say, "Oh, they're going to beat Villanova," all of a sudden they're the public darling because no one else watched that show.
Yep. No, gotta leave there. All right, guys. Again, we got NIT games this week. Obviously, the 4 playing games will happen on Thursday, and then the action begins, the madness, on Friday. So the opportunity for you to hop on right now with Bryan Leonard, with Dave Koken, with Ralph Michaels. Use that code MM50 right now. Get $50 off their March Madness package. It's normally $199. You can get it for $149 right now. Take advantage of this, guys. Right now, MM50, Dave Koch and Bryan Leonard. Of course, Ralph Michaels, all at WagerTalk.com. Just go ahead, go to their pages, hit the package, use that code MM50 at checkout, and you'll be ready to go. Also, locked and loaded for tonight's The Best Bet. It is $9 Monday as well. You can get there. We'll, of course, be back again tomorrow here, looking to get you all
Joe, we
set up.
gonna be back tomorrow, or are we gonna take tomorrow off with no games?
When is the NIT game? It's Wednesday, correct?
NIT games are Wednesday, yeah.
Okay, so all right, so then so we'll take the day off tomorrow. We'll be back on Wednesday to do the NIT games from there, and then of course we'll have you set up for the week. We'll go right through the weekend, and we'll get you all caught up. Now, take a look, by the way, guys, tonight at Wager Talk on YouTube, all the social media platforms. There are going to be game breakdowns, much like we did through the NFL season. We're going to have them in college basketball. We're going to start those tonight and posting them up for you so you guys will be able to get the thoughts of Ralph and Bryan and Tony Mio, all the Rob Vino, all the guys that you saw here all throughout the season long. You'll have an opportunity to hear what they think of a number of games here, getting ready to tip off here on Friday and Saturday. So on behalf of Bryan Leonard, Dave Kogan, and Ralph Michaels, guys, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Never miss an episode here. You'll get notified. Hit subscribe. And then, of course, come back and join us again tomorrow. Wednesday, as a matter of fact, as we get ready to do it all over again and get ready for what is absolutely going to be madness, guys. And that's exactly what it is. Best of luck with your plays here tonight. We'll talk to you again soon.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.